Welcome. Let's start drawing Sattoro Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. Man, I just love that show. I don't know what will happen when Gojo will find out that Nanami is dead. One of his students got his arm ripped, the other one is practically dead. Wait, I think she is actually dead. She is not going to be revived. But yeah, anyway. So first, whenever you are drawing, the very first rough sketch that you want to make is lightest. Okay, it should be lightest because you will be adding layers on top of it. Okay, so when you add those layers, this light work shouldn't be visible, because if you draw it with a dark pencil and if you make a mistake, you want to erase it, the markings will be there. It will create a lot of problem. So I use the lightest pencil which I have in my arsenal. This is H2. Okay, see over here, H2. Now for the basic anatomy of face, in order to draw the head, or let's say the portion of its skull, we draw a circle here, the circle. Now after the circle, you will draw a vertical line straight from the circle down, and then another line, but this time horizontal, about 10%, like, depending on the size of your circle, 10% above this point. Okay, like this line is going to be the eye level of your sketch of the person you are drawing. Okay, this is just the part of circle which you draw, and this is the eye level, and at the tip of this line you will draw a chin. Then over here you make a line, you join it, you make another line, and you join that as well. See, so simple. A lot of people mistake art as something which is inherited, but they don't realize that art is just any skill. You can learn it with enough hard work and depth of thoughts. Yes, depth of thought is very important if you want to do art. If you just want to design something or you want to go into illustration, then depth of thought is not really necessary. I mean, yeah, it just works out that way. Then draw this here, another line. Now when you are making a character or a human face, okay, make sure that your lines are smooth. Try to draw them in one go. Okay, like this, the one that I made over here, in one go, in one stroke. That way your line will be very smooth and clean. The first draft, even though we call it rough, it should still have some decent amount of clean lines on it. Otherwise you will get very confused when you will go on the later stages. Now in order to draw the ear, do not make the ear like this. This is what people do when they start drawing after watching Doraemon. This comes over here and this goes here. Tada! My ear is ready. Well, this is not how a ear looks like. See, if you want to actually draw just for a hobby, or in order to express something that you are feeling, or you want to make a serious career out of it, for any reason, if you want to draw, then you need two things, and those two things should deeply get engraved into the fabric of your being. Okay, so first of them is your ratio of the time you spend in observing and seeing something and the time you spend in drawing it. So for beginners, that ratio should be 9:1. 9 is the ratio, 9 denotes the your time in observing something, on watching something, or seeing how it moves, all of its curve, structure, shape, geometry, everything. And the remaining time is what you will actually use to draw. So if you have 10 minutes, so do not pick something which will take 10 minutes for you to draw. Pick something which will only take 1 minute. Example, pick this pencil over here. Over here. Pick this pencil over here. Now, do not ask me why I have a cap on my pencil, okay? It is an artist thing. Then this needle, it breaks down. So you have to protect it. It is very precious to protect it. Now, so for 9 minutes, you will watch it. Everything which is there on this pencil, it should be in your head. Keep watching at it, keep looking at it, keep observing the curves, the texture, the portion where light is directly falling, its reflection, how it is reflecting the light, and then its shadow, the little bumps on it. This doesn't has any bumps, but the grip does. And the text, well, if you are smart enough, then you can even get an idea of the font in which this text is written. That way you will be able to draw it even better. The place where the fabric is being changed, the material is being changed, or if something is being applied on it, it is very important for someone to observe what they are drawing, because if they do not observe it, you will most likely make it wrong. And anyone who wants to become an artist, then it comes by default, okay? You will have to observe. Otherwise, there is nothing. You will spend 100 of hours into drawing and the result won't be there because you just don't observe things. Now, for hair, since Gojo is a manga character, so every mangaka has their own unique way of drawing hair, and I am somewhat adapted to my own way of drawing hair, which is with a lot of curves and smooth round strokes. So I will make it that way. We have it over here. And some stroke over here. There, I made a mistake. The only way to correct a mistake is to accept it. There is no other option. And nobody in this world understands it better than an artist does. Here we have it, some more strokes, some more lines. This goes over here. Okay, now in everyone's head, this portion, the one where you are drawing the hair, in everyone's head there is one portion from where I don't really know if it has a name or not, but it is the portion where you will see all the hair forming a curve like this, as if some kind of typhoon, and from here the hair will be going all around. So that portion in this drawing, we are going to take it in front, okay, because this is the portion from where all of his hair will divide: the frontal, the mid, and the side and back. So you see, again, art is mostly about details. Quality of art depends on the quality of the details. And there is one more thing on which art depends, and that is its composition. Composition is something which will take you to places your skills will not. Now we have basic compositions, example an oval or circle, rectangle, or crisscross. If you will go on internet and you will type for famous paintings, then you should be able to figure out that which is which, and you will see that most of the artworks which are called great or which are very expensive or things like that, many of them don't look worth paying $300 million or $100 million or even $1 million, but people pay that much. So why is that? Well, again, because one, the artist is dead, so they cannot produce another one like that. That makes it quite expensive. And other one is its composition. Composition of an art is what makes a simple illustration work of art. Now, in anime or manga, when we draw nose, we don't really draw nose, we just make nostrils. And how do we do that? So for drawing nostrils, okay, now look closely. Can you zoom it? Yeah, now look closely. First, this line and then this line. This is about it. The nose is done. That is how it works when you are drawing for anime or manga stuff, but otherwise that is not how we make a nose. Don't even try using that style of nose on a normal person, okay? Yeah, they will look super funny, man. And now the eyebrows. Well, in this video, since it's my first video, I'm very roughly talking about art and things related to it. But after this, in the upcoming videos, I will also be teaching the methods of drawing something from scratch. So basically it is going to be a course for beginners and for anyone who is interested. Either you can use it to draw for fun or for a serious cause. Now, the eyes. When you are drawing a face, then in that face there are two very important things that define how beautiful your face is going to be. That is one, the lips, which aren't visible in this one, and second is how good you're able to draw the eyes. And anyone who watches anime, they know that most of their budget goes into making the eyes, because eyes are supposed to look beautiful. Quality of an eye will decide the quality of the character in terms of appearance. So if everything is very good and eye is very bad, then I'm sorry to say it, but it is going to look real bad. Now, in order to draw an eye, now there are a number of different types depending on the type of eye you want to draw, but in this one we have a basic structure set for an eye. So I will teach you all of them in the upcoming videos, but for this one let's just stick to the actual version of how his eye was drawn. So first, I hope you guys have seen a leaf in your lifetimes and held one in your hand, a tinny green leaf. So the basic outline structure of an eye is that way only, like a leaf. Okay, see, you'd make this curve, then you make a stroke to put it downwards, and then another from here. See, now after drawing this, you will also have to draw the eyebrow, because what is an eye without eyebrow? And we're done. Now wait, we are not done. This doesn't looks good. We will have to correct it. Yeah. It usually takes a lot of time for me too when I'm drawing eye, because I want the eye to look very peaceful. Now some people will ask, how does an eye looks peaceful? It is a way of saying that you want to draw an eye that calms one's anger. Well, there are some things that you just cannot know by reading. Art is one of them. You will have to feel it, only then will you be able to draw it. Now for eyeballs. Okay, now never do this mistake of drawing complete eyeball, because if you will go in front of the mirror and observe your own eyes, you will see that you will never be able to see all, like, the whole circle of your eyeball. Okay, so you will have to crop it. This is people. Okay, and then delete all the unwanted lines. Rub, 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 rub. Rub, 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 rub. Erase, 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 erase. Erase, 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 erase. Erase, erase. Now back to the ear, but I prefer for the beginners to do even the detailing with the pencil. However, if you are somewhat intermediate in terms of drawing, then you don't have to go into such detailing for the rough. For rough one, you just want to draw the basic structure, for example the circle, the basic structure of the eye, nose, lips, ears, the places, edge of your hair, not the details, just the edge, and same thing for the rest of it. And yeah, why did that mangaka capture Gojo? Sometimes wants to make me cry, man. And then, after doing it with pencil, comes the second step, and that is to make it, that is inking. Now, when you have to ink something, you can either use a nib, which depends where you live around the globe, if you will be able to find it or not. So I mean, I prefer a nib, but since nib is not available where I am right now, I will be using pens. They are just for show. I will use this one. Lol. Now, as it goes without saying, the one with the sharpest tip, you're supposed to use that for the very small and thin details. The one with the thickest tip, like this one, okay, so this one is 8 macrons. You can see the difference between this and this, okay. So this is the one we use for thick lines, and this is the one which we will use for thin lines. However, I have a very bad habit of not changing pens while I make, so I usually make a lot of things with this one only. My art teacher makes a lot of fun because of this. Yeah, he makes joke about how I will get commission work to paint a complete wall, and I will reach there and start painting with this miniature painting brush, and how it will take me forever to complete it. I mean, even if you draw it with that one, it won't take you forever. Until unless you die. So here we are. Now while inking, you have to make sure of one thing. Your lines, okay, they should not be of same thickness everywhere, because if they are, then your work will look very flat, which is not a good thing. When you draw something, it should look as if it is going to pop out of the paper. Action, movements, everything, it should drip out of the paper, okay. So everywhere, see, first I'll show you with an example. Suppose in this portion, so I will draw it in one go, okay. Now I have drawn this. This all is very flat because both of these lines are of same thickness, and that too they are very thin, okay. So every place where your line are curving or meeting another line, they are intersecting, those are the portions where you are supposed to thicken up your line. So just draw on them again, okay, until you get a line thick enough. Yeah. So usually when you draw an eye, the edges, the ends of an eye, we draw them thick, and as we move to the center, we make them thin, like over here. Well, however, Gojo Sattoro he even has white eyebrows and eyelashes. So here we have eyelashes, white furry eyelashes. And his eyebrows. Now there is one more very important thing which you need to know when you are drawing. Okay, when you are drawing an eyebrow, when you are making it roughly, you can make it in a simple geometric shape, like see over here, like this, like this. But when you are using ink to make over it, when you are permanenting it, do not make it in one go, do not make it this smooth. Okay, instant use line reinforcements. That is, you will have to make one line after the other, okay, while connecting them. So like this, zigzag, zigzag, zigzag. That will create an effect, a texture, okay, that there are a lot of hair, okay. And it is very important because, as I have said before, art is all about detailings. So in very in ancient Europe, you will find pieces of work which are very detailed, very detailed. The skin color, texture, folds, curves, everything is very detailed. And in some of Vermeer's work, they are very detailed, but you will not find lines like this in them, because he didn't use them. He used effect of light. He was a master when it came to that. And in ancient Indian paintings, you will see that they are very detailed too. They are very complex, but they are flat. In terms of color, they are very flat. However, they make up for their flatness with composition. Okay, so here we have it. Now I will quickly do everything else. Now we have the flat lines. Okay, so everywhere, okay, so tip of these lines I'm going to thicken them, and everywhere these lines connect, those portions should be thick as well. So after doing that, I'll tell you how to proceed further. Now let's intensify this. How are we going to do that? So we will darken the portion with lines. Okay, so this type of lines which we draw in order to darken something, or in order to show that this area is shaded, these lines are called, this technique of making line, it is called hatching. And if I do vertical lines over these horizontal lines, then that will be cross hatching. Okay, so it basically, a hatching beam has 5 layers, which I will talk in depth about later. So we are going to hatch. Well, but it is time consuming, very time consuming technique. I wonder how do all the mangakas pull it off. And what are they? Some kind of superhuman beings? We have it. Now, hatching is done. First layer is done. So what comes after first layer? Second layer. Second layer is cross hatching, and that puts more depth to these strokes. So in the portion where you want more depth, just make lines like this, and leave it there. Okay, so now even that is done. What comes afterward is my black and white paint with my favorite miniature brush. So I have some diluted black paint with me, which I use for almost everything that I make. I don't know, I just like using it. But before applying color, we'll have to erase all the pencil. Now, in any work of art or in any work in general, I mean pictorial work in general, you will find two things. One, if there is any sort of sketch, then there will be one which is the focus point, and second which is the emerging point, okay, or the converging point. So a converging or an emerging point is the one that makes a drawing 1 point perspective or 2 point perspective. So basically what I am talking about is, if this is a paper and I want to draw something which is 1 point perspective, so I will draw 1 point over here and lines. Okay, all of my line, they should meet over here, and then I will draw buildings and everything with regards to that point in mind. So the image, when I will make it, the depth of the image will be right. However, focus point of the image is where you want to lead the viewer's eye to, and it is not same as this one. I mean, not every time. Example, in this one, the Sattoro Gojo which I am making right now, the focal point is somewhere over here, okay? But the focus point is going to be his eye. The same way how Mappa pulls it off. Rub, 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 rub. Rub, 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 rub. Just now we are all good to go. First we will have to check the dilution, so I'll check the dilution. Okay, looks like it's fine. And after checking it, I'll start it. So if you want something to look good, there are two ways of doing that. One, either you make it so good that people are able to identify it, so you are raising your own level, or you destroy everyone else's work, so their work is not good, and automatically when people will view their work, they will psychologically be pushed to compare, and they will see that your work is better. In painting, in sketching, and in art, we use that psychological phenomena as well. So if we want something to look brighter, either we use a color of such high intensity that it looks very bright and people are able to identify it from afar, or we dull everything else in that work, and by doing so, the portion which we leave is the dark one, and it automatically becomes bright. Now I am doing it with a miniature brush because I am just an idiot who makes everything with a miniature brush. You don't have to do it. You should use a bigger brush. I don't even keep bigger brushes. I don't know, man. I will have to do something about my habits. In life too, you will meet people who will either raise their own standards to look good or bring yours down. If you find the first one, stay with them. If you do not find the first one, you better become the first one. If you find type 2, then I think dying in peace is a better option, because they will pull you down time and again just for the sake of their own selves, because they are not able to get ahead of you. They pull you down in life. Now, when you were in primary school, the teacher must have told you how colors should not go outside lines. So when you are illustrating something, follow that rule. But if what you are making is and you want it to be considered art, then you may not follow any rules. However, you must know the rules in order to break the rules. So paint shouldn't go outside. Now we will use, now we are going to do the second layer, more darker layer. Keep your hands very light when you are working with a brush, okay? Because if you will try to keep your hand tight, it will restrict your movements, and you can only do so much with your restricted hand. While painting something, make sure that all of your stroke they go in one direction, because if you will draw in two direction, then they will bisect, I mean they will cross each other, and people will see the conflict in your work, which is not something that you want people to see in your work. It is considered very bad, very bad, very, very bad. And of course, by the concept of depth perception, these portions are supposed to be darker than anything. If you're painting anything, then make sure that whatever you're painting, you are using the contrast rule. What is the contrast rule? So you have to put contrasting colors together. So even though I use black and white, make sure that your darkest tone is against your brightest tone. That will create a contrast in your work, which will in turn make your work look more interesting. It pretty much works the same way how when your teacher first checks test paper of someone who scored 99, and then she checks paper of someone who scored 50, she gets very disappointed because the first one did so well that, oh dear, and the second one wanted to put the mark. So contrasts are being formed, opinions are being created. What can we do about it? This is just the way it is. So in different mediums we have different rules. So in watercolor we always go from lighter tones to darker tones, but if you are using acrylic, then you are not binded by such things. In acrylic you can go from dark to light or light to dark. However, again in shading you will have to follow the rule, and you will go from light to dark, and this is one rule that you're not supposed to break. Yeah, this rule is not for breaking, okay? This is a serious rule. Not every rule is meant to break. And now for the eye. Okay. Here goes nothing. Okay, now I need even more darker tones in my work, and with this my work is slowly coming towards an end. And with this, we are done. In the upcoming videos, I will start from sketching on human anatomy, face, eyes, and everything which you need to know about art. Thanks for watching.